On today's show, the SENSLER. We're joined by Ottawa Senators 2025 first-round pick, Logan Hensler.
Logan tells us about being drafted by the Ottawa Senators and his freshman season at Wisconsin.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd, and Pilsy, we got the 23rd overall pick on today's show.
Yeah, it's nice how that worked out.
Thanks for trading down. They did it for this.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we would have had to have him on Monday, which I guess could have worked, but not when you interview him a day later, I guess. A little behind the scenes there. But it's awesome to get a chance to talk with Logan. Obviously, a lot of excitement about the SENSLER and one of the 4 players playing at the University of Wisconsin. And yeah, we're fired up about this one.
Yeah, looking forward to bringing that to you in just a couple of minutes. And before we hit record, we played for him, Brady Tkachuk, talking about Logan. And you could tell, I was like, you know what? Let's do it off camera so we're not putting him on the spot, but also to kind of loosen him up, make him feel good about himself as he should going into the interview. So really fun conversation. We go about 25 minutes with Logan, but Pilsy, we haven't even touched on the Ottawa Senators schedule being released. The Sens start on the road this year in the Sunshine State, taking on the Panthers and the Lightning. What are your thoughts on that start of the schedule? It's Tampa first, then Florida, but hey, they're both Florida.
Yeah, I mean, with the history the Ottawa Senators have against those two teams, especially on the road, not great. But Ross, as the king of spin zoning, I've looked at it and I'm like, all right, if the first 2 games don't go well, which obviously I'm hoping they do go well, but if they don't go well, then the home opener, you're like, all right, this is where they turn it around. Or if they do go well, which is what we're hoping for, obviously, then keep the momentum going into the home opener. So either way, it's fine. And hey, the Ottawa Senators were able to beat the Florida Panthers, the reigning Cup champions, in their home opener last year. So hopefully they get a bit of that early season magic on the road up against them this time.
Yeah, they'll need it going into that. Now, it is worth noting they are playing in Tampa's home opener, but the Florida Panthers will have already raised the banner against the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's nice. I feel like you don't want to be an away team on a banner night just because then you do the warm-ups and it's like 25 minutes of pre-game stuff. But the Sens play in Montreal all the time, so I guess they're used to that. But yeah, not good to be there on a banner night, especially with the whole Brady Matthew thing. It's nice to avoid that.
I was talking with Mike DiStefano on Locked On NHL. We do that every Wednesday, but he had a great suggestion. Because he doesn't love the matchup, and that's fair. Like Chicago Blackhawks, sure, it's an original 6 team, but for them to go in, it's almost like catnip for the Panthers. And this happened a couple of years ago to Chicago as well. They got pumped by Colorado when the Avalanche raised the banner after their Stanley Cup win. His theory and suggestion is that it should be a Stanley Cup final rematch in the building of the team that won so that they have to watch the banner go up.
Yeah, I agree. Football used to do that for the longest time, where the first game of the season, let alone people's home openers and et cetera, was always the Super Bowl matchup with the banner raising and everything. I like it, especially, Ross, when you've had back-to-back same opponents in the finals and same winner. Like, really be like, all right, just in case you guys forgot, this is the team that beat you.
I think it's great motivation for the losing team, too, having to kind of sit there and watch. But that's not how things are going to go. This year, it's going to go with a Western Conference opponent to open the season for the Ottawa Senators, the Nashville Predators. Then they're back out on the road for their next game in Buffalo, looking to exercise some demons after being swept in the season series last year. And then they come home for 4 in a row. So I like that. I also like the fact that much like this past season, the Sens are going to do a lot of home cooking at the end of the year. They don't play outside the Eastern time zone from March 16th on. Well, nothing really else happens March 16th, March 17th, right? Nobody's birthday, not a day of celebration, St.
No, not a
Patty's
big
Day.
deal.
No, but obviously that's Pilsy's birthday. But to have them, sorry, that's even wrong, which is very normal for the show. They play at home against San Jose on March 15th. They don't play outside the Eastern time zone from March 9th. Their last game on a different time zone is in Vancouver on March 9th. So that's the last 18, 19 games of the season in the Eastern time zone. A lot of those at home as well.
Yeah, my biggest qualm, Ross, is what a crap move having the Ottawa Senators last home game of the season up against the Leafs.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Also, I've been looking through the schedule, Ross. The Ottawa Senators, and I triple checked this, so I hope I'm right, have 14 back-to-backs this year.
Okay.
So that's why I know some people got on me for my take that I wasn't stoked about moving from 82 games to 84, but those probably are going to be back-to-backs. Like, if you have 16 back-to-backs in a year, like 14 back-to-backs is a lot. Now, again, I'll find a way to spin zone anything. A good thing there is that should give Levi Merelainen, if he is indeed the backup, which all signs point towards that happening, that should give him more games. You guys know how I feel about goalies playing back-to-back games. If they don't split the back-to-backs, I'll lose my mind. But that's tough having so many of them. Like, that's 28 games out of 82 where you're in back-to-back situations.
And not only is it a lot of back-to-backs, Pilsy, there's a part in January where they have back-to-backs, and both of them are with travel. They play at home to Vancouver on January 13th, at the Rangers on January 14th. Then they come back home to play Montreal, only to play in Detroit at 5 p.m. the next day.
Yeah, like some of them are crazy. And then, Ross, there's even some double away game back-to-backs in March. They have one in New York and then the next night in Detroit, which is an insane travel. But like, so that's where you really need to have your team ready to go. And that's where it's good to have two goalies that you trust so that you don't feel the need to go to Linus Ullmark. Or, I mean, it's not even crazy to say the need to go to Levy in back-to-back situations.
Yeah, and he I think had one of those this year, didn't he?
Probably.
I know Ullmark did, and he played great in the second half. It was that Pittsburgh game where Jari forgot the rules of hockey, that guys can stand back door, and if the puck goes off them, it's still a good goal.
It's almost impossible to stop.
But it still counts. So that's the Ottawa Senators schedule. It's 82 games. It's on the Senators website. I feel like if we go through the entire schedule, you guys will fall asleep before Logan Hensler comes on to wake us up here in a couple of minutes. Now, Brady also told us not to talk about November, right? He said, we don't talk about the November slumps of the years past. They're on the road a bunch in November, including the end of it, which goes into December with their final game of a season-long 7-game road trip. I hate how they always throw that extra game on. Like, they go out west, which is expected for a long road trip. Anaheim, San Jose, LA, Vegas, then St. Louis and Dallas. But then, like, why do they have to go to Montreal after that too?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. We can talk about pros and cons. Mostly the cons is what you point out when you look at the schedule. But it's fascinating when the schedule comes out, Ross. I don't know about you, but I spent a good hour just every couple minutes being like, wait, what are they doing in March? And opening up and just over analyzing the schedule. Also, because I'm looking to plan a bachelor trip around the Sens away schedule. We'll keep tabs on that. But yeah, always a blast to check out the schedule.
It is. And I know a lot of people, they go through it and they do the wins and losses. So I did that and I got 82-0.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's sick. That must have taken a lot of analyzing.
I did, yeah. I had to go through every lineup, every strategy, all the back-to-backs. And yeah, I got to 82-0 for the Ottawa Senators. So we're in for a historic season coming up for the Sens.
I think I only had a couple scheduled losses, since people love hearing me talk about the scheduled losses.
That was the at Carolina game where Nick Jensen scored late, where we just put the kibosh on it. No more scheduled losses.
Well, and then it was the Pittsburgh game right after with the back-to-back. So I got double smacked in the face. But That's called a reverse jinx, people.
Back to back.
Yeah, I was doing that for the sake of the Sens victories, and it paid off. So I'm willing to do that. That's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
You're such a good guy, Pilsy. And so is Logan Hensler, who's coming up right now on the show. We will tease what to expect on Friday's Ring of Honor after our chat right now with Senators prospect Logan Hensler.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. Have you ever decided last minute to head to the ball game with family and friends? Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. I can personally relate to this. I wanted to go see the Jays on Sunday. They were having a hot streak at home, which is still happening. And I said, let's go to Gametime. Let's get tickets. I'll make the 2-hour drive. It's a beautiful day. And it was awesome. When you save money on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, even invite more friends to come with you. Gametime makes that possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and their lowest price guarantee takes the worry out of buying tickets. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB. It's easy to browse the app and find awesome baseball games and seat views right in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you're going to be sitting. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, we now welcome a very, very special guest from Woodbury, Minnesota. It's the most recent first-round pick of your Ottawa Senators. Logan Hensler joins us. Logan, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So I take it you're at the University of Wisconsin, where the Ottawa Senators fan base will have their eyes locked in next season. We're going to get to the draft, get to everything, but how's your summer been? I always hear from guys on their draft summer that they barely have time to catch their breath. Has it been similar for you?
Yeah, it's been busy, but, being at school is kind of nice to unwind, be around the guys. And, overall, I've had a pretty great summer, and it's been smooth so far.
Let's get to the draft, Logan, because that must have been a wild day for you. First off, did you have an idea that the Ottawa Senators were interested in you? Like when you did your interview and through all the talks you had with them, did you get a sense that you're getting good vibes?
Yeah. I had a Zoom meeting with them about a day prior to the draft. It was very, very business. So, I had a good feeling they were interested, and, they really wanted to test me, and I thought I did well. And, and I heard my name called and it was them, and I was pretty excited.
So you got to, I'd imagine, speak with a number of NHL teams leading up. What was the different process between each team? Like, was it a completely different experience, whether you're talking to team A or team B?
Yeah, it can be. Some teams are a lot more business, a lot more serious, and some teams like to keep it light. And you kind of get that difference. And overall, you learn a lot about yourself in every single meeting. So it's a pretty cool experience. So
we always hear about how guys are kind of trained for this, whether it's through your agent, through just the maturity of going through a draft year where you're speaking to so many teams throughout it, leading up to the combine. Did you take a lot from the guys who were drafted last year as well? Because as an early birthday in this draft, you, I'm sure, have a lot of connections with guys who went through this whole process last year.
Yeah, they were great. Just with questions and all that, they hit it right on the nail, right? So overall, I thought too, just as a person, I just matured a lot just doing them. I was pretty nervous for my first one, but after that, I kind of got used to it, and so far so smooth. So
that's awesome, man. And we want to get to your first experience in Ottawa at development camp, but let's rewind the clock all the way back, because I think the fan base really wants to get to know Logan the person. Growing up in Minnesota, I'd imagine there were skates on your feet pretty soon after you could walk. What was your initial introduction, and how did you fall into a love with hockey?
Yeah, my parents actually didn't play hockey. My mom was a figure skater, so growing up, when I was pretty young, she threw the skates on me, and she was actually a skating coach for a little bit. So she'd bring me there, just kind of throw me in the groups and kind of just let me go. And I think where I really fell in love with hockey was my cousin. High school hockey is pretty big there, so I remember going to high school hockey games growing up, and that was honestly my goal. And it worked out pretty well, you could say. So.
Hey, having a good skater as a parent must have been a good at least start for you. Did you have to do figure skating with her as well? Was that kind of a prelude to playing hockey? Because I was in a situation when I was growing up, my parents were like, you got to learn to skate first, and the only skating available is figure skating. So I had to do that.
Stop! I didn't know that.
I've got pictures of me as like a 4-year-old in like a sailor outfit, like doing figure skating routines, but it was all worth it because I got to play hockey. Did you have a similar experience, or it was just strictly the practices that you had to participate in?
It was more just I was in hockey skates, so
Nice.
It was more just the camps. Just they throw me
No
in.
time for figure skating, Pilsy. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's good to get your skating fundamentals in. I'm sure your mom would say that. Jeff Skinner was a figure skater, and he's an incredible skater with a nice NHL career. Finally got a playoff game too.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to be Belly, the Belleville Sens mascot, without being a figure skater. But Logan, so growing up playing hockey, then were you always playing kind of a year up, quote unquote, in terms of the guys who were taken last year? Because I know you guys were at the USN TDP together for a year, and then you had, I don't even want to call it rare, it happens every once in a while, but where your draft year is spent already playing college hockey.
Yeah, growing up in Minnesota, it's all about grade. So just kind of being that younger guy, just playing with those older guys helped me a lot. And then I think the biggest adjustment I had to make for growing up was just high school. I was a freshman, only freshman on the high school team, and learned a lot there, just maturity wise. Got to know the guys pretty well, and they just they taught me the ropes, and thankful for that.
You play at the state tournament, isn't that a huge deal there?
Yeah, we did. 2020, we did third place. So,
okay. You'd rather finish third than second, right? You win your last game.
Exactly, yeah, and then a win. And that was probably one of the best years of hockey in my life. I loved Tilbury, so it was fun.
Every awesome. Minnesota kid loves Minnesota high school hockey. Like that, like it's tough to leave there because you're having such a good time. That's what you're thinking about as a kid. You're probably watching so much high school hockey. What is it about Minnesota high school hockey that is just so special?
It's just super tight knit. I just remember it was a brotherhood as soon as I got there. You go to school with these guys, see them every day. You're at the rink. The families know each other. It's just a very family brotherhood love. So it was a lot of fun.
And at that point, like you're just playing high school hockey, right? Like it's not like you have your competitive AAA team and you're playing high school hockey. Is it full time or is it a bit of both?
Yeah, correct. Just high school hockey.
Yeah.
So we played around, I want to say around 31 games that year. That was really about it for my career.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Now we always see the championship games at the XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild plays. The whole tournament there or just the championship?
That's the tournament. The tournament usually sells out pretty much every game, and then the championship is just another level. It's sold out. People are screaming. It's loud in there. It's definitely next level for sure.
Were you a Minnesota Wild fan growing up then?
Yeah. Growing up, my grandparents had season tickets. They still do now. So
amazing.
Go to those.
Sick barn. We went 2 years ago when the Sens played there.
Yeah, it's legit. They have a really good fan base there. It's a lot of love there. I love it there.
So what was it like stepping foot on that ice for the first time after growing up going to games there?
Oh, it was crazy. Definitely won't forget it for sure. And then, hopefully this year at World Juniors we can do the same. So that'll be fun. Pretty
cool then. 2 World Juniors for you, 1 in Ottawa, and then 1 a home date in Minneapolis. But I don't want to get to the World Juniors yet because you're already at Wisconsin at that point. I kind of want to go chronologically here. At what point throughout high school or even before were you approached and then ultimately made the decision that Wisconsin was going to be the best place for your hockey career? Yeah. I want to say just growing up being the younger guy, just kind of for recruiting too. Bunch of schools approached me, but I think what stood out for Wisconsin was just the rep the coaching staff had. They just got hired. Coach Hastings, Nick Oliver, Todd Knott. I mean, just sitting down with Coach Hastings was just a big trust piece, and just he knew my capabilities, and that trust he put in me was just really kind of what made me choose it. And my dad's from Wisconsin as well, so I got some ties, so it was a no-brainer. Nice, that's solid. And how about being in the Big Ten, like being in a division like that where you're up against some heavy hitting teams? It's only going to get more difficult now that Gavin McKenna is going to be at Penn State. Was the division and opponents, is that something you look at as well? Yeah, 100%. I think the Big Ten is very skilled. It's
very skilled, very physical, very hard league to play and overall. And, that was also a big dream of mine. I mean, I kind of grew up watching the Gophers, but, play for Wisconsin now. But overall, it's just right for my development. So it was good.
Well, I was going to ask you, was that a tough decision to leave the state, knowing that I feel like a lot of Minnesota kids, it's all about being a Gopher one day?
You could say so, but I was since being that young birth year.
Yeah.
A lot of schools were filled up because I went a year early for college, so they were actually full. So I didn't receive an offer from.
So a little revenge tour then, eh?
You could say so.
Okay, I like that.
Badger's more intimidating than a Gopher, anyways.
Oh, it's great here. I love it. So
yeah, that's awesome. So then you get to Wisconsin. A lot of the scouts and people that we've talked to, and you can correct us if we're wrong, but it felt like the second half of the season, you started feeling a lot more comfortable handling the puck, making plays in the offensive zone. What was the biggest adjustment moving to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, just the little things. I mean, you give a guy like Aiden Fink or Jimmy Stunger about 5 feet of space in the back of your net. Just this is the next level, right? They're getting faster, bigger, and overall just kind of being more cautious. And then I thought overall in the second half, I became a lot more consistent with my gameplay, my passes, and just overall everything. So, just a confidence thing for me for sure.
You had that highlight reel goal, man. We've been watching that one on repeat where you went end to end. So that's awesome to see. And it felt like when we watched the Sens did a behind the scenes of the draft process that people can go find on YouTube. But you mentioned that you feel like you got a lot more offense in you. What gives you that confidence moving forward?
Yeah, I think just overall, it comes a lot more natural to me. I think just last year, overall as a team, we kind of had a rough start, started 1-8. I think this year we got a pretty skilled squad, and I think overall my game will show offensively and defensively, and I think I'll take a huge step this year.
Was it kind of a good break being able to go to World Juniors and get at least just something new to split up your season? Like, did that help you kind of get a breath of fresh air and then come back with a little bit more hunger?
100%. I think also just from a confidence standpoint as well. I mean, you're playing against the best players there, right? And I thought overall for the role I had in that tournament, I played very well. So it kind of just gave me that extra confidence, you say, going right back into that second half of the season, and ended pretty well. So I was happy.
What was your first experience like in Ottawa, where the World Juniors took place? And I'd imagine that was your first time ever stepping foot in the nation's capital.
Yeah, it was pretty snowy actually, but we would go down to the mall over there downtown a bunch, and we had a good time there. I've got some good memories there, so keep that good mojo going, right?
I heard you say that in your draft night interview. I was like, man, Ottawa really does sound boring. Hey, yeah, we went to the mall. It was fantastic. We got to show you the ins and outs. I'm sure the boys will take care of you when you get to the NHL. It's a sneaky great city. I know a lot of people around the hockey world will be like, oh, Ottawa, there's nothing to do there. And maybe a part of it's because the rink right now is about 30 minutes from downtown. But you're coming to an awesome city, and it's great to add you to the Sens A. We've also been kind of referring to that. A lot of American guys on the team, including one that you model your game after in Jake Sanderson. When did you first get to know Jake as a player? And I believe he trained with you guys for a little bit too. Was that your first introduction to him, or had you already been following his career?
I followed him a little bit prior to that. Just, overall, you see him, great defenseman, just complete. But yeah, that was my really first first time meeting him was at the NTDP. Skated with us for a week or two. It was just kind of cool to see just how much I have to grow as a player and just how good he was. And, I do believe I can get there. And I think great guy to learn from. So I'm glad I'm part of the organization to learn from him.
Completely dialed in. And funny because I brought up in the NCAA how as the season went on, you got more comfortable. We talked to people around North Dakota. I mean, at that point, the Sens had 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, all at UND with Sanderson, JBD, Pinto, and Clevin. So we talked a lot with guys who covered that team, and it was pretty similar, right, Pilsy, in terms of the scouting report? It's very steady defensively, great skater, but we know there's more offense there. We just haven't quite seen it yet. And then second half of the season, he popped off, and then the next year he was incredible at UND. So it's pretty cool how the parallels, Pilsy? We had 4 UND, and now we got 4 Wisconsins as well, including the SENSLER, who we're chatting with right now. So, Logan, you talk about the experience off the ice, the malls of Ottawa, the fantastic malls, but how about playing in that NHL arena and you guys able to capture the gold medal? Has to be a memory of a lifetime.
Yeah, and I'll add to the malls part. I mean, Kachuk did treat us to some pretty nice dinners. I'll say that.
Did he?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Great guy.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
unbelievable. But yeah, overall winning gold, it was insane. That building when we played Canada was sold out in warmups. I mean, the atmosphere there is unbelievable. Definitely, I'm never gonna forget that ever. So, I was glad I could do it there. And, now I'm glad I'm back. So it's exciting.
Yeah, what'd you think of the CTC? You mentioned Minnesota's rink. What'd you think of the CTC? Not bad, eh?
Oh, it's sweet. I like how steep like the highest things are. They feel like you're right on top of you. They're really nice.
So what's your biggest on ice memory from that World Juniors?
I think it's the overtime goal. I think that was just like crazy to see, just the Stiga going down on a breakaway and everyone was standing up and he scored it and just everyone just piled him. It was crazy. And after, just all the boys in the locker room it was just a lot of fun, can't really put into words.
Yeah, and then you had the box of Senators players, including Brady Tkachuk, who went down to the locker room. That's kind of a cool moment too, eh?
Oh, special, super cool. So, just that support they have, the support system is just amazing. I'm
going to go out on a limb and say Brady's reached out to you after the draft.
Yeah, he did. Great leader, great captain. I think he's a great person just to kind of have him as a role model and, excited.
Yeah. So what, as a guy who I'm sure maybe you're not watching every night of NHL hockey, but when you look at the Senators team, guys who maybe names you recognize or the way that they've kind of been building, what gets you excited when you look at what the Senators organization has already in their system and then what you feel like you can add to it when you get to the big leagues?
Yeah, I think just overall, the Senators, they just keep getting better. Just the new players they're adding, just the game they play overall is just it's solid, it's complete. And I think what I can add is just that extra guy in there, the complete defenseman that can contribute offense, kill penalties. I think that's my complete end goal, just to play every role, and I do believe I can get there.
I want to get back to the draft, Logan. So you said you got good vibes from Ottawa when they're picking at 21. Are you kind of thinking, okay, this could be a spot I go to? And then they trade the pick and trade back. Did that change like your feeling where you're like, oh man, maybe I'm not going to go to Ottawa. Maybe I'm not going to make it to 23rd. Were you still hoping you made it there? Like what's the feeling like when the trade back happens?
Yeah, honestly, when it happened, I was like, I don't really know what to think, but it worked out. It worked out great. I had a feeling that was kind of my range, and I had a really good feeling with Ottawa, and overall, it really did work out.
What's the weight, let's say, on a scale of excitement and anxiousness going into draft night, not knowing where you're going to spend the next portion of your life?
I would say more anxious for me than excitement. I definitely was excited, but I didn't eat all day. I was that nervous. So it's a big moment in your life. I mean, just a starting point, right? But when you're there, it's different. So I was glad it's over. I'm glad I'm part of this team.
And then it's a whirlwind because you get drafted one day. How quickly were you on a plane to Ottawa for development camp?
It wasn't bad, actually. I got to go home. I actually had a day there. We went to Santa Monica, and then I got to go home for a day, and then flew to Dev Camp. Dev Camp this year was a lot of fun. The group of guys there was fun. I got to meet them really quickly in the about 2 days we were there, so it was fun.
Yeah, it's quick camp this year. What was your first impression of getting to see everyone and the way that things were set up? Pretty cool having a 1,000-game vet and Sam Gagner running things for a few of the days too.
Yeah, it was sweet, very welcoming. Just everybody there. I basically meshed with everyone there about first day in. I know Monty a little bit. He kind of has his ins and outs with people, so he kind of got me connected, which was really nice.
Yeah, you think he's an outgoing guy?
Great guy, yeah, outgoing. yeah.
He was telling us after the draft, he's been on 3 times with us now, but after the draft, he was in Bermuda and he had to get up to dev camp like right away. So that a little bit different than what you got to experience.
A little different, you never know with that guy, right? He's always doing something. So,
man, he had a sick year though, eh? And you guys knew he was coming to Wisconsin the whole way through. So are you keeping tabs then on London a little bit, being like, man, he's growing into a role. And then when all the guys went to join, whether it was USA or Canada at the World Juniors, all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I can be versatile, but I can also be a scorer. So that must get you excited in a guy where you guys have a guy coming in that's going to be a top 6 impact player for you next year.
100%. You know, I remember playing him when he was in Lincoln too. Just the speed on him, the hands, just the hockey sense overall. He's a great player. Excited on our team and got to know him, so it's gonna be fun.
How good does it feel knowing there's 3 other Sens prospects on the team? I mean, obviously Tyson Dick was already a Sens prospect and already playing with you in Wisconsin, but then you got Blake coming up, and then day 2 of the draft, the Ottawa Senators draft Bruno Egan, and now there's going to be 4 of you. Like, that's got to feel so cool having a group like that.
Yeah, it's fun. I remember Bruno getting drafted at Texas and was super fired up, and he was pretty pumped too. So just overall being part of the same organization helps a lot. Just that overall, just know each other, the love. It's good.
Well, you can maybe then relate. I guess he only got to the USHL this year, but like you look at the way he plays. Like, how is this guy available in the 6th round?
Crazy, yeah. Coming from Croatia too. I mean, he's we've had the skates this summer. He's legit. So excited to see what he can do for us this year.
What's the expectation for you guys in Wisconsin this year?
You know, I think the expectation is always a national championship, right?
Yep.
But I think this year the Big Ten's gonna be pretty tough. So I think we'll fit in nicely with that. And I'm just excited to see how the CHL players fit in and just how the Big Ten grows. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
And we're officially going with the Wisconsin Sens. That work for you?
Perfect. We'll do that.
Okay, sick. Just a couple more from me. What do you like to do away from the rink? I know you're dialed in. It's a more than just a 9-to-5 job. It's all day, every day. But when you want to get away, what's something that Logan Hensler likes to do?
Big golfer. Love to golf. And then we got a pool here, so maybe go sit up by the pool. But overall golfer. Right now I'm sitting around a 12, 13 handicap. So nothing crazy, but
I can get better.
I can hit it, right? I can hit it. So
yeah, I mean, it's twice as good at me and 100 times better than Pilsy, but you still got a little room for improvement there.
Yeah.
What part of your game needs the most improvement?
Oh, my putting and chipping. That gets me every time. So hopefully
drive for show, buddy. Drive for show.
100%. We'll dial that in though. We'll dial it in.
All right. Okay. We'll work on that. Lots of great courses around Ottawa too. Actually, I got one more question about Dev Camp. We've asked this to every other guy we've had on that's been at Dev Camp. Was there a player that you didn't know who caught your attention with the way they play?
How do I say his name? Shane Van Holm. Was it Shane or Shay? WHL leading goal scorer.
Okay. We're not, he would have been an invite, right?
Yeah, he was an invite. He was pretty he was legit.
Okay, nice.
He was good, yeah.
I wanted to lead you into this one. Did you have a good laugh with Gabe Eliasson after your teams dusted up at the U18s? No surprise, Gabe was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we were actually watching the video when we were at camp. So
nice.
It was good to get to meet him. He's a good guy. So
nice guy. Hey, you wouldn't be able to tell on the ice.
No, glad we got to clear that up. So it was good.
Well, I mean, that's just the type of player he is. Don't feel like that was anything personal. Gabe Eliasson is the only player to be involved in a fight during a teddy bear toss. I don't know if you're familiar with the teddy bear toss that the OHL does. It's supposed to be a nice, wholesome moment.
Around Christmas?
That dedicates donating teddy bears to kids. And there's teddy bears flying everywhere. And Gabe's just in the middle of things, mucking it up.
It's a good style line to have, right? So that's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you've actually got some competitive hockey coming up here at the World Junior Summer Showcase. What's your feeling going into next week?
Excited. Got to be there last year, so I kind of got to know it a little bit. So, excited to see the guys that I played at the U18 year. And I think this year we'll be pretty solid as a U.S. team. So I'm excited.
How different's the feeling knowing that you're a returning player? A little less anxious, maybe?
Yeah, just knowing the staff really helps also. And then the players, you kind of just, I would say you're more of a leader, but, you kind of just know what you're doing there. So it's good.
What's the campus and the city like? We've heard a bunch of good things about Madison, Wisconsin, and just glowing reviews from the players we've talked to that said on their invites and when they were going to look at the campus and deciding what college to go to, they were blown away by the campus. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a definition of a college campus. I mean, you got State Street here, no cars. It's all restaurants, bars. Everything you'd ask for is on State Street. Then you got the terrace, a little lookout onto the lake, the Cole Center. You got Camp Randall, which is historic. I think just it has everything you need as a college student, and overall schooling to it here is pretty legit. So it really does check all the boxes.
That's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to watching the Wisconsin Sens and yourself develop there this year. Pilsey's, tempting us to get down to Madison for a game.
No, that's the wrong word. Guaranteeing we're going to get down to a game in Madison. Because
same trip as we're going to Barrie?
Yeah, same trip as we're going to Barrie to see Gabe Eliason. Yeah, okay. I've made a couple promises already.
We're big promises guys on this show. We like to keep as many as we can, but we did make it down to Grand Forks to UND, the Ralph. So I feel like we got to do the bounce over to Wisconsin and go see you guys play. Thanks for doing this, Logan. We really appreciate it. It was great to get to introduce you to Sens fans who maybe got to see the pick, got excited about the pick, and then now getting to see you head into a week where you'll be on the ice playing in competitive games in your home state. So really looking forward to seeing you throughout the year and look forward to seeing you one day wearing that Ottawa Senators jersey. So thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Stick taps to Logan for joining us. Really fun conversation with him, and shout out to Bartlett Hockey for setting that up. Pilsy, we have set up a very fun Ring of Honor. What can people expect on Friday?
I mean, Ring of Honor season continues. It's episode 2. We did the Ring of Honor of the Sens that got away. And a rare occurrence, Ross. We put all the chains off. We opened up all the doors, all the windows. No parameters on this one. Take it however you want. I would say we each had one curveball pick that will be interesting to see how fans react. But as always...
It wasn't just a curveball. It was a way up and way down.
You had the Eufus, yes.
Well, you can decide whether the ball gets caught while it's at its peak or at the very bottom.
Yeah. So
what's the word for very bottom? Like peak, apex is
valley?
Always like, yeah.
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys.
I mean, if you call it a peak, you're going to call it a valley.
Yeah. What's the low point of a curve? Right? That would be... What's the low point of a curve called? Minimum value, I don't think really hits the spot.
Yeah, that's not really that fun. Makes sense, though.
All right. Well, let's get to that on Friday. Really looking forward to it. We've even decided already on what next week's Ring of Honor is. And I think that one is going to be relatable, fun, and also with the ability to be creative because there's going to be a wide range of choices. Stay tuned for all that. We're your team every day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday throughout the summer. Interview season is in full swing. If you've missed any of them, now's a great time to catch up on episodes you may have missed along the way. For today, we say goodbye. Thank you for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. A subscription and a 5-star review go a long way to helping the show grow. If you enjoy it, click the thumbs up below on YouTube as well. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.